Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin with a simple question. What makes a man truly attractive? And I don't mean in the superficial sense of fashion trends or temporary social status. I mean fundamentally at the deepest level of human psychology and biology. What draws women to a man in a way that is lasting and meaningful? It's competence, it's responsibility, it's strength, balanced by kindness. To be the man she can't resist, you must master competence and responsibility at a level that makes you undeniable. Women are not drawn to potential, they are drawn to results. If you lack direction, if your life is chaotic, if you are drifting without a sense of purpose, you will never command the kind of respect that ignites deep attraction. Competence is not just about knowledge, it is about execution. You must become a man who follows through on what he says, who delivers on his promises, and who stands firm in his pursuits. There is nothing inspiring about a man who makes excuses. There is nothing magnetic about a man who refuses to take control of his own fate. The world does not reward passivity. It rewards those who are relentless in their growth. You must become a man of undeniable skill. The modern world is filled with men who are easily replaceable because they have refused to cultivate excellence. If you are average, you are forgettable. If you are mediocre, you are invisible. Women do not fall for men who blend into the background. They fall for men who stand above the rest. And standing out does not come from empty confidence, it comes from proof. If you wish to be respected, admired, and desired, you must earn it. Competence is a signal to the world that you are a man of value. It tells her that you are capable, that you are disciplined, that you are someone she can depend on. And dependency is not a weakness, it is the foundation of trust. The man who masters his craft, whatever that may be, separates himself from the masses, whether it is in your career, in your physical conditioning, in your intellect, or in your emotional strength. You must push beyond comfort. Growth does not happen in stillness. If you are the same man today that you were a year ago, you have failed yourself. And failure in this sense is not an event, it is a choice. You choose stagnation, you choose mediocrity, you choose to be lesser than you could be. And every moment you make that choice, you lose. Not just in success, not just in relationships, but in self-respect. Women see through weakness, through uncertainty, through self-doubt. If you are unsure of yourself, she will be unsure of you. If you hesitate in your own worth, she will never believe in it. The moment you wait for external validation to prove your value is the moment you lose your ability to command respect. Competence is not just about skill, it is about certainty. A man who has mastered his domain moves with purpose. He does not second guess his steps because he has walked this path before. He does not crumble under pressure because he has trained for it. This is what women sense. This is what draws them in. A man who is sure of himself because he has proven to himself that he is capable. You must become irreplaceable. The world is full of men who have allowed themselves to be nothing more than background noise. They live without urgency, without drive, without hunger. Women do not chase men who are passive in their own evolution. They are drawn to those who are constantly rising, who refuse to settle, who demand more from themselves. If you are not pushing forward, you are falling behind. There is no middle ground. And she knows this. She sees it in the way you carry yourself, in the way you speak, in the way you approach your ambitions. A man who moves with intention is unstoppable. A man who builds himself into something extraordinary does not need to convince anyone of his worth. It is self-evident. Responsibility is the weight that separates boys from men. A man who refuses responsibility remains in a state of arrested development, incapable of leading, incapable of inspiring, incapable of being the kind of figure a woman truly respects. It is not enough to be skilled, you must be accountable. The strongest men are not those who avoid hardship, but those who take it upon themselves to carry burdens that others run from. When a man takes responsibility, he takes control. And control is the essence of masculinity. A man who complains about his circumstances, about the unfairness of life, about the difficulties he faces, is a man who will never be truly desired. Women do not respect men who surrender to hardship. They respect men who fight through it, who rise despite it, who refuse to be broken. Strength is not given, it is forged in the fires of struggle. The more responsibility you take on, the stronger you become. And the stronger you become, the more attractive you are, not just in the eyes of women, but in the eyes of the world. There is a reason why men who lead are always in high demand. Leadership is rare. Most men would rather follow, would rather wait for direction, would rather be told what to do. A man who leads, a man who builds, a man who dictates his own path. This is the kind of man who commands admiration. Women do not want to guide a man through life. They want a man who already knows where he is going. If you need her to mother you, if you need her to provide your sense of purpose, if you need her to validate your existence, you have already lost. A man who has mastered competence and responsibility does not chase. He does not beg for attention, does not seek approval, does not operate from a place of desperation. Women are drawn to him naturally because he has become the kind of man who is worth being drawn to. Attraction is not a negotiation, it is a reaction, and it is a reaction to value. You must become undeniable. Every step you take, every skill you develop, every ounce of effort you invest in yourself compounds into something unstoppable. If you wish to be the man she can't resist, stop focusing on her and start focusing on yourself. Build, grow, evolve, and let the results speak for themselves. Strength without control is destruction, and kindness without strength is impotence. A man must possess both, or he will be either feared or ignored. Women are drawn to the man who is powerful but restrained, dominant but considerate, relentless but compassionate. A brute is a danger to everyone around him, and a weak man is a burden to everyone who depends on him. The ideal man is neither. He is disciplined, balanced, and unwavering. Strength without kindness is tyranny, and kindness without strength is useless. The man who masters both is the man who cannot be overlooked. Women seek safety, but safety is not found in softness alone. Safety is found in certainty. It is found in a man whose presence alone demands respect, whose word is final, whose decisions are rooted in wisdom and unshakable conviction. A woman does not admire a man who bends under pressure. She admires a man who remains composed in the face of adversity, who commands situations without losing control, who exerts dominance without recklessness. Strength is not merely physical. It is mental, emotional, and psychological. It is the ability to stand firm when others waver, to make decisions without seeking permission, to take responsibility when others would rather flee. There is no nobility in weakness. A weak man who is kind is not admirable. He is merely harmless. Harmlessness is not a virtue. It is a lack of capability. A man must be capable of great violence, great force, and great intensity, yet choose to wield it only when necessary. The strongest man in the room is not the one who is constantly proving himself. It is the one who never needs to. His presence alone is enough. His composure is unbreakable. His restraint is terrifying. He does not threaten because he does not need to. He does not seek conflict because he knows he would win. Kindness is not passivity. It is not submission. It is not weakness disguised as virtue. True kindness is the ability to be harsh, but choosing not to be. It is the ability to destroy, but choosing to protect. A man who is incapable of harm is not kind. He is simply incapable. But a man who is powerful, a man who is dangerous, a man who has conquered his own demons and yet treats others with respect, that is a man women admire. That is a man who commands loyalty. That is a man who is irreplaceable. A woman does not want to feel like she is carrying the weight of your emotions. She does not want a man who crumbles under pressure, who reacts impulsively, who is led by his insecurities instead of his principles. A man who is truly strong has already battled himself. He has fought his own weaknesses, confronted his own fears, and emerged unshaken. A woman finds comfort in a man who remains rational when she is overwhelmed, who remains calm when she is anxious, who provides stability when the world feels chaotic. She does not want a child disguised as a man. She wants a pillar of certainty. You cannot fake this. Women have an instinct for weakness. They see through bravado, through false confidence, through the fragile egos of men who have never truly tested themselves. You cannot pretend to be strong. You must become strong. Strength is built in silence, in discipline, in moments of struggle that no one else witnesses. It is forged in hardship, in the willingness to endure pain without complaint, in the refusal to surrender to self-pity. A man who has suffered and remains steadfast is a man who cannot be broken. But strength alone is not enough. A tyrant is feared, not loved. A man who lacks kindness may command obedience, but he will never inspire devotion. Women do not long for a man who rules with an iron fist. They long for a man who understands them, who listens, who cares deeply, but without weakness. A man who dismisses emotions as insignificant is not strong, he is blind. He does not understand the complexity of human nature, does not grasp the depth of connection that can only be formed when a man is willing to be both protector and nurturer. A woman wants to feel safe, but safety is not just physical, it is emotional. It is the ability to be vulnerable without being judged, to express herself without fearing that she will be dismissed, to trust that when she falls apart, you will not collapse alongside her, but will instead hold the line. A man who is truly strong does not mock emotion. He understands it, navigates it, and rises above it. He does not drown in his own emotions, nor does he suppress them entirely. He controls them. He owns them. He refuses to let them dictate his actions, yet he acknowledges their presence. A man who is all strength and no kindness is a ruler without followers. A man who is all kindness and no strength is a body without a backbone. A woman will not respect a man she pities, nor will she love a man she fears. The man who is irresistible is the man who is both warrior and guardian, both leader and companion, both forceful and tender. He knows when to be harsh and he knows when to be gentle. He knows when to stand firm and he knows when to yield. He does not bend for the sake of approval, but he is not so rigid that he becomes cold. It is not enough to lift heavy weights if your spirit is weak. It is not enough to dominate in the workplace if you are incapable of warmth. It is not enough to be feared if you cannot also be loved. A man who is truly powerful does not need to remind people of his power. It is evident in his posture, in his actions, in the way he treats those around him. He does not seek validation because he does not need it. He does not prove his worth because his worth is undeniable. A woman is drawn to a man who is capable of destruction yet chooses creation. A man who is capable of war yet seeks peace. A man who could walk away yet stays because he chooses to, not because he needs to. The strongest man is not the one who dominates by force, but the one who commands by presence alone. His respect is earned. His leadership is unquestioned. His value is self-evident. No woman dreams of a man who is weak. No woman fantasizes about a man who hesitates. No woman longs for a man who is easily replaced. She wants a man who is unwavering, who is unshaken, who is grounded in his own sense of purpose. She wants a man who can protect her without caging her, who can challenge her without belittling her, who can lead her without controlling her. There is no place for the timid in the realm of attraction. There is no room for the uncertain in the heart of a woman who desires greatness. A woman's love is not given to the passive, nor is it sustained by the cruel. It is drawn to the rare man who has mastered both power and restraint, both intensity and patience, both dominance and grace. A man who is truly strong does not demand respect, he earns it. A man who is truly kind does not seek approval, he gives without expectation. A man who has mastered both strength and kindness does not chase, he attracts. And when a man like that stands in his full power, he becomes the man she cannot resist. If you want to be the man she can't resist, stop looking for shortcuts, stop searching for tricks, and start transforming yourself into a man of undeniable value. Mastery, discipline, and responsibility must become your foundation. Strength without control is reckless, and kindness without power is meaningless. Only a man who possesses both is truly respected. Women do not fall for empty words, hollow confidence, or surface-level charm. They are drawn to men who have proven themselves through action, men who walk with certainty, men who are irreplaceable because they have sculpted themselves into something exceptional. Become the man who leads, the man who builds, the man who stands unwavering in the face of challenge. A man who does not chase because he does not need to. A man who commands respect without force. A man who attracts without effort. Be that man, and the world and the women in it will follow.